Welcome back. Okay, so I think this is number 6. um, and this I won't be the last one probably because people are always inventing new things, and I'll try to keep up and do new videos uh, as a certain type gets bigger and bigger and taking up more of the pie of all the fakers that are out there. Um, so I will continue it as it needs to be continued, but for now I think this is where we're going to stop after this one. And this last one is transvestites. Now, here's the weird thing: transvestites is actually a medical condition or a medical thing in the DSM. Now, here's the thing on it is transvestite. Okay, and here's a quick thing: the condition that they put in the book has actually changed over time. Originally, it was they just said transvestites, then they said transvestism, or no, transvestitism, a little jump there for the T's, and then it was transvestism, and most recently in the latest update of the DSM-5, I think they're trying to transition it into transvestic disorder, is what they said, or what's it say? But it'll say transvestic disorder, and then in brackets it goes de facto transvestism. They're the same thing. It's marketing. They're remarketing it, rebranding it in order to sell it, and that's all it is. It's just they're selling it. And yeah, the as much as they've done to try to get this all organized, there is some of the corruption of fakery going on in that type of thing, because in a couple of places I saw, especially on the website, didn't really see it in the book, but on the website you see stuff where they talk about, the person's sex is different than, they were assigned, the sex that they were assigned at birth. And that's a key word for me: assigned at birth. You're not assigned a sex at birth. You are identified and diagnosed. Okay? If you were diagnosed at birth to have cancer, you have this. You were diagnosed at birth to be human. You were diagnosed to be male. It's not an assignment. Okay? You were diagnosed this. Okay? If you want to sit there and say your gender is just the mental part of it, well, the mental part is in large part based on all the chemicals that your physical body creates. And male physical bodies create those things and drive behavior. And don't tell me that the chemicals don't drive your behavior. Then why would we be taking drugs that increase serotonin uptake so that we can adjust your mood from depressive to not depressive to be happy? Wow. The chemicals affecting, yeah, and the natural body chemicals affecting what your tendencies are towards, or what you lean towards this, or you look at, and what attracts you, and these different things. Yeah. So, yes, a lot of your brain function of gender would be determined by your sex. Okay? So, whether you're a guy and you grew up loving Barbies, I don't care. That's just part of what your chemical makeup did, or through environmental issues, because yeah, the environment can play a huge part in changing things. Um, Another quick reminder, again, gender dysphoria is all environmentally created on people. Okay, it's either abuse or traumatic event, or something causes the person to be that way. There's not one that's been associated as just the chemicals from the body doing this. They've never seen that as the issue. It's always had some type of environmental piece that overrode what the body and the chemicals were doing that caused them to have the gender dysphoria. So transvestites. These people are, Here's the thing. A lot of the people who are out there pretending, all the other fakers, they look to the transvestites as their guidance of what gender dysphoria is. They think that transvestites are gender dysphoric. They're not. In the DSM, transvestic disorder or transvestites are a fetish, okay? And in that way, there's the whole thing with lesbian, the LGB community. They basically, there's a whole part of them that says the TQI crap, all that gender stuff, that's not part of us, okay? Well, the way that they're able to try to make themselves part of it by saying LGBT is that the transvestites, that is sexual based, but it's a fetish, okay? You might as well be saying, well, it's the LGBT BDSM type thing, or the LGBTE for ass eating, or AE for ass eating. These are fetishes, okay? It's a fetish is how you like sex, or even they're trying to come up with new stuff with, oh, I'm asexual, I don't like sex. Well, asexual is the reproduction by yourself. So basically you're saying that you get off by jerking off on yourself. Okay, there you go. That's asexual. Okay, you don't want to have sex with other people, you just reproduce on yourself and you jerk off on yourself. Okay, so it's just simply that it is just a fetish. Now, I used to use, like, how long have we known about transvestites? We have. There was a character in MASH, and I use this when I say he was a transvestite, and I thought about that for a while, and I was like, you know what? He actually wasn't a transvestite. He was a grifter. He was pretending to wear the dress. He was pretending to be the transvestite in order to get out of the army. So that actually means that he was the grifter, not the transvestite. The transvestite does it because they get some type of sexual gratification, or some type of really good gratification, or sexual high, or it turns on their significant other, or whoever it is. But there is a sexual component to it. But it is just a fetish. It's not gender, and it's not about, sexual reproduction per se. It's just, well, some people like to get spanked. I don't care. It's, you want to dress up like that, and that makes you get a hard on. Okay, go for it. It used to be about keeping the government out of the bedroom, and saying, let people be the way it is. And transvestites have been, they were the deviant people. They were evil, and they were looked down upon, for a long time. And so now when you have gender dysphoria, which is a legitimate mental illness, versus just, oh, you're just doing a fetish and you can control yourself. You don't have to sit there and do this weird thing in public. Okay. But now they can try to squeeze themselves into the I can be normalized, and I can be this, and everybody should like me. And now you have these parents who are taking their kids to drag shows, and it's like, okay, I can imagine there's probably some transvestites that are doing drag shows that are just actors. So take all of the malice out of the equation, and say, okay, they dress up like this, they go to the drag show, dance around and do their thing, but when they go home, they go back to being normal person. And it's not a big deal, and they're normal person everywhere. But then there's people who take that as their whole persona. I am my sexual fetish. Well, you know what? I am not PTSD. That does not. The whole point of treatment for PTSD for me is to minimize the effect that it has on my life and the lives of the people around me. Okay, that is my thing. It's my job. If you have a mental illness, you have an extra burden to carry of keeping that illness from affecting and causing harm on other people's lives, and also working so that you can still live the best, happiest, healthiest life that you can, in spite of having that illness. Um, but with this, it's not an illness. It's just fetish. It's like I said, it's just a fetish. Some people like this. Now they did go into some of the stuff on how it's like BDSM. Usually there's some kind of event or trigger that causes them to like this and to fantasize about these things, and that's like, okay, well, you're figuring out how the brain works and all the rest of those things, and how the environment plays a role in causing people's way of thinking to change. That's good, but in the end of the day, it's just that. It's just a sexual fetish. It is not something that needs to be celebrated as this is the greatest thing in the world. It's just like when everybody thought, for the long, for a long time, it was like, oh, do you eat ass? I eat ass. I eat ass. I eat ass. Hook up, again, the main thing that humans are trying to do is procreation. So you do whatever you can to get that thing. So, but yeah. So when you look at the transvestites, some of them are trying to inch their way in. Some of them are honest people who sit there and say, look, I am this. I am not LGB. I like to dress this way. That's what it is. Some people will sit there and say, get your kid out of here and don't do this. Others will grift it and do it. So again, you can have overlapping conditions or overlapping type labels for what you are. You're this and that. You're a transvestite grifter, or you could be anything else. All right, so that's it for this, and that's it for a while. When we start coming out with some new crazy fanatical, this is the popular lie, we'll come expose it. Thanks for coming along.